And so we came up with this. One of these things was professional review. So there's peer review and professional review. We won't get into the details of that. But we came up with this novel professional review strategy because one of the things that we found out, as we were looking at this, if you go to your comments, like every month or 2 months or quarter, someone gives you a piece of paper that says, here, these are the patient comments. Well, all you do is you look at the good ones, you're like, man, that's me. And then you take the ones that are bad and you just throw them away. That's a crackpot. And no one keeps track of that over time. So we thought, and the comments, when we looked at it, we tried to say, all right, maybe we can use natural language processing to get like a sentiment analysis so we could do it. And that was hard to do. So we took what I learned in Alabama is sometimes there's spelling issues. And, we utilize these comments to extract information, and then you create sentiment or polarity around words. Well, in Alabama, we have the redneck version of natural language processing, which has all kinds of spelling errors. So we did have to get spelling as part of our thing. We had to work around that because if you're going to capture all the words, you have to let people enter them in. And so we accepted that we'd have some spelling. But what we did was we used 2 words, and we were able to add to the Press-Ganey survey a custom question that said, please describe your physician in today's visit in 2 separate words. So what you do is you boil everything down just to those words, and then people have to choose. You can't write these although you'll see some of the residents did. We try to, get it down to just a couple of words, and that way you can get the sentiment boiled down. You don't have to go through all that analysis. And then we added it, and you guys will love this, all the residents. You actually had the opportunity to evaluate your attending as well. Please describe your faculty on this rotation in 2 separate words. And so then we divide it into positive and negative. There's something mixed and neutral in the middle, which we throw out, and we develop that polarity. And then what we did with that was create word clouds around that. And what was amazing, we automatically tabulated this. What was amazing was how important it was to use this not only for the negatives, because that's what people look at, but really try to champion the people that are doing well. And so what do they do for you here if you're doing well? For most people, what do we do in medicine when people are doing a good job? Nothing. We ignore them until they want to leave. And then we pay attention to them. We ignore them and we say, but then you say, oh, I want to leave. You go, oh my gosh, you're doing a great job. We got to keep you here. So we got to do a better job. And this is a way to figure out how, and show people what other people are saying about you. So me as a division director, I don't have to go in and say, I looked at your scores and you stink, or you're doing a great job. This is actually coming from the patients and the residents, which we believe are the sort of the end product of the academic mission. And so this shows the people as positive and negatives, it's relevant, and it's actionable. So for example, we had 175,000 surveys. The date range is a little old. When I left, they canceled it, and then I came back, I had to restart it. But average surveys per physician around 200, so it's relevant data. And what it showed is that if you took the whole group, and not the individual, the whole group, 97% were positive. But not surprising, the majority of negative words clustered in 6% of the people. Well, everybody knows that. That's your Pareto principle of you spend 80% of your time dealing with 10% of the people. Well, this is a way to look at that and show people and make it actionable so that they understand what other people are saying about them. And so it's not me, it's not personal, but it's giving you the feedback that's associated with the residents and the patients. So this is the word cloud. And not surprisingly, this is awesome. Knowledgeable, professional, and caring. That was 30% of the words. And this wasn't a drop-down menu. This is what people wrote in. And we had a program that would correct the spelling and stuff. But all the things that you would want: competent, informative, thorough, friendly, great, attentive, courteous. Sounds like the Boy Scout model: courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, all that stuff. But anyway, those are the things that you want to hear. That's what you want out of your doctor. So Hannah, what do you think one of the three most common negative words were? Inattentive. Yeah, that actually was one of them, but it's not the top three. What was really interesting about this work was that when you looked at the negative words, the top three were actually rushed, busy, and hurried, which is we all put ourselves in that situation. Most of us are pretty good about being in two places at once. We schedule clinic in the morning, and then in the afternoon we have the OR. We don't finish clinic, we're late for the OR, and everybody's sad. And so we're trying to drive the system. And so what we've used this information to do is to look at the top performers that are in the rushed, busy, and hurried, and go look at their clinics and understand. And some of it was that people were really, truly busy and they had a clinic every week. Some people had a clinic every 3 months and tried to fit it all in. So it's really trying to understand that and see what the patients are feeling about you. So that was our goal with this. And then the residents. So what do you think who's our other resident? There was, I met, yeah, Daniel? Yeah, Daniel, all right. What do you think the residents, so the same thing, this is no surprise, it was 98% positive about your attendings. What do you think a good positive word would be, Daniel? Survey says? Yes, he's got number one. Awesome. But knowledgeable, efficient, but then approachable. I mean, it's not putting up barriers between people. They feel comfortable talking to you about what the challenges are. What do you think the most common negative word was?
Probably say similar to the attendings, probably something like, rush.
Yeah, inefficient, busy, and unapproachable. So what happens is you become collateral damage as we're trying to get through our day. But then it's see, now this one kills me. When you tell a resident to list just in 2 words, and they go, did not trust his resident. You gotta hyphenate it like that's 1 word. Come on now, follow instructions. And the second, doesn't support his residents, Come on. So anyway, it's really hard because the way these things work is the frequency is equal to the font. So the bigger the font, the more the frequency. That's why those things show up. But look at everything. You're like, what is tumultuous? Like detached, condescending, disorganized, disinterested. So these are things, and what we did was we actually created it as part of our professional review. So these word clouds showed up on a rolling, every 6 months on a rolling words. They would put those words in, and leadership would be able to share that with people. So it was a way to give feedback that came from the patients and the residents so that people would know what people think about them. So the immediate impact, it's simple and direct. The data is from the end users. There's a strong correlation. We correlated that to all the MPCAPS data, looking at physician evaluation around communication. And the implications are not surprising. We embedded it in the tool and then analyzing to look at change over time. Really, because this is static, but if we have systems now that can do it in real time, we can look at that and change over time, because the rush, busy, and hurried can start going up, and we need to understand, is something going off the rails, and really try to intercept before people get frustrated with their practice.